Themba was very angry and started screaming at Zoto. I should have married the devil. He would have been a much better partner than you. And Zoto chuckled. Honey, they would have arrested you. Marriage between relatives is illegal in this country. Good evening, folks, and welcome to New Opportunity Tuesday on Talk with Rams Live. Now that things have changed, we now get to meet Dr. Thando Sibanda, our personal development coach, on Tuesdays instead of Mondays. His work still fits the theme because you still get the opportunity to learn and become the better you for your own business. But before we bring in Dr. T, we present you an opportunity, as we call the show Opportunity Tuesday. We always look out for opportunities out there. So if you are a supplier of tires and big automotive parts, but you'll hear more about it, please listen to my conversation with my guest, Tshepo Serokolo, because that could be what the doctor ordered for you just as we end this COVID year. I hope it's you who gets this gig. But before we get into programming, let me remind you that if you run your own business, however big or small, please get in touch with us on admin@talkwithrams.com. Send us all your contact details. We are going to add you onto a WhatsApp group that we've created, where we're going to create more conversations even on air and bring on more coaches like Dr. T, Tammy Banda and other experts, and we'll spend more time to try and grow together in our businesses. So please, admin@talkwithrams.com, send us your details and become part of this journey. It's going to cost you nothing but your own data. I hope one day I'll even donate data to you for free. No, actually, I'm not. Forget about that part. You have to pay something for your own success. Now then, Raizcorp, Africa's most successful established for-profit business incubator model, supporting 500 or more than 500 entrepreneurs. There's an opportunity for you, dear hustler. Tshepo Serokolo from Raizcorp joins us to tell us a bit more about this opportunity. Tshepo, good evening, my brother, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Rams, and thanks for the invite. It's a privilege.
I know I did a bit of an introduction on Raizcorp, but would you like to tell us more who Raizcorp is in a much better language than that of a broadcaster?
Well, I guess you really said exactly what I was going to say. But yeah, so we look for entrepreneurs that really have what we call the blue heart, which is that thing that separates what you call hustlers from people that just wish to have businesses. So we have a very good reputation, and we've really practiced very well for many years in finding just that person with a certain mindset, and particularly the growth mindset.
And how do you recruit people to get into the incubation program? How long do they stay in before they come out and become great stars that become great entrepreneurs?
We find them anywhere and everywhere, Rams. I mean, currently we have a footprint across the country. We're headquartered in Johannesburg, Sandton, but currently we are recruiting people from Kriel, which is somewhere very far in Mpumalanga, in your rural areas. We're dealing with people from the Northwest, Rustenburg, Wheatbank, Emalahleni rather. So everywhere, suburbs, urban, semi-rural, rural areas, it doesn't really matter. As long as we find people that really want to grow their businesses, and our partners, which is our principals and sponsors, are willing to really give them an opportunity, we go there.
Excellent. Now, tell us about this opportunity that is lying out there that could change somebody's life.
So we've partnered with a very reputable engineering company that is involved in most critical assets, managing critical assets that helps to bring power to our homes and to businesses. So they're looking to expand their reach, and they're looking to expand their contribution in transforming businesses that play in that space. So currently in this context, this client is looking for people that would like to participate in moving of tires, moving of equipment that participate in the power industry. So your mining, your ESCOMs, your power stations. So if you've got a truck, or you sell tires, or you supply parts to those heavy duty machineries and equipment and trucks, this is for you.
So this is not for a startup.
Definitely not for a startup. I mean, as I just explained right now, you can just understand the complexity of some of these things. So some of them are very specialized. I mean, if you refurbish some of these parts, or you're selling some of these tires, this is a quite expensive stuff. So we would expect you to at least have started up and have some sort of a equipment to do this. And also, of course, if you look at where these businesses are, some of them would expect them to already have some sort of a system. One of the reasons why we're doing this is that our partners find that it's easy to get people who would supply for you. But you find that some of them do not actually deliver as they're supposed to deliver, not because they don't want the opportunities. I mean, who doesn't want the opportunity? But you find out that the business has not matured, I guess, to a point whereby it can carry those complexities. They have a reputation. They deal with complex kind of products. So they ask us to come and help these businesses to really elevate their understanding and way of doing business.
So your role would not only be in selecting or helping to select the potential suppliers, but also to gear them up to the right level where they can supply the partner.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking sustainability, we're talking scaling, we're talking employment of people, we're talking contribution to the economy, whether locally where these mines will be, or whether across the whole country. So there's a lot of things, Rams, that really sabotage our brothers and sisters in terms of reaching their aspirations. So passion on its own, and academics and experience and exposure play a huge role. But there's other things that are businessy that we come into from our own experience of running business for over 20 years, that we can come and contribute. Financial acumen, personal development, like you just introduced your other guest right now, which is one of the key component in running a business. Today I was facilitating a course to some of my entrepreneurs, and we were talking about how to keep motivated and how to psych yourself up. And there's a quote that we shared about the fact that it takes 99% psychology and 1% perspiration to run a business, because you keep on hitting these walls. And resilience is the ability to fall and psych yourself up and come back and get more beatings, because you're looking at the goal. So those are some of the things that we really offer, which you cannot get from any university.
The suppliers, do they have to have been incubatees of Raizcorp at any point?
Not at all. However, in this case, we will have to put them through a selection process, which will meet the criteria that we've agreed with our clients. Because what can potentially happen is that they can end up going into the supply chain and servicing them, and some of them will, or of course, only get the opportunity to play in the ED space, where they'll get proper business development. So it doesn't really matter whether they've been with Raizcorp before or not. But however, currently they need to come into the program. We'll select them properly. We've got a very professional selection team that understands the criteria that we're looking for specifically for this cohort. So somebody's listening to us, Tsepo, now, and they're thinking, well, I don't supply this stuff, but I've got the money to get this stuff and supply. Could they qualify? Not really. I mean, you can understand that when you're dealing with mines and those kind of operations, there's a lot of technical understanding. There's health and safety, the safety issues. So you cannot take chances, with these kind of things. And that is why we're specifically looking for people that know. There are other opportunities within Raizcorp that cater for different people. Whether you're starting up, we can help you with ideation, clarity of vision, aligning your personal vision to the business strategic objectives, and so forth and so forth. But for this particular one, you would have to really understand what you're doing. because there's a lot at stake for you as well. I mean, you don't want to take chances and ruin your reputation while you're still starting. So this one specifically, we're looking for people that actually know what they're doing, but who want to grow even much further. So
how do they apply?
So they can go to www.raizcorp.com, www.raizcorp.com. And then when they get to our website, they'll get different options to choose. And then they will go to I Have a Business. And then from there, it will take them through to where they need to apply. And then our selection department will pick them up from there. And then our team will now start calling them and will vet them over the phone, ask them relevant questions to see if they really are eligible for this opportunity. And as soon as that happens, we invite them in to come and have proper interviews with them, understand who they are, what do they want to get out of this whole opportunity, and also if they meet the criteria. One of the biggest things, Rams, about this is not only the horse or the business, is actually the jockey, the entrepreneur, because we're looking for someone who will persevere, someone who's also very creative, and obviously can also bring some innovation that we will enhance our partnership with our clients.
I forgot to ask a very critical question, and maybe you said it, and when the camera was playing games on me, I didn't hear it. They have to be black.
Absolutely, the business must be 51% black owned. I mean, to meet with the codes and legislation. Yeah. But that's just one part. That is just legislation. We are looking for an entrepreneur who really wants to grow their business, who has got the character, the mindset, and the psyche to really grow a business, and who will look at this as an opportunity to grow their business.
Excellent. I love this opportunity, Tsepo, and I know you guys sit with a bag full of them, so we should talk more often. When you have another one, let us know. Let's do them more often, so that we can expose our own community that is part of this show to these opportunities as they come.
Absolutely, and maybe just to also share this with you, that these entrepreneurs that we're looking for to help transform can be from Emalahleni, because most of these operations are around the mining areas in Mpumalanga, and they can also be from Gauteng, because we headquartered here. But yeah, so those are the areas. So in terms of geographics.
Tsepo Serakulu from Raizcorp, wonderful chatting to you, my brother, and I'm hoping this is just the beginning of a million conversations I'm going to have with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the privilege, and all the best.
Thank you so much, my brother. When we return, we pick up from where we left off with Dr. Thando Sibanda. Do not move.
The ultimate crime deterrent is having a lock on the best guards. Whether you're watching neighborhoods or offices, Balwa Security has your back with top quality systems and customized solutions to keep you and your surroundings safe. For more, visit balwasecurityservices.co.za. We watch like hawks and sting like scorpions.
Brought to you by Ad Crashers, where small business gets in on the big brand action.
Good evening, Dr. T. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Good evening, my brother Rams. I'm very excited to finally be at Destination Motivation Monday. There's somewhere in the Hebrew writings where it says that a man's gift will make room for him and bring him in the presence of the great. So when you work on yourself, the very fact of that internal work that you are putting into yourself, investing in yourself, then starts to open up new dimensions which you can naturally walk into. There is nothing as painful as grabbing someone who doesn't belong into business class and putting them there. You will feel guilty for all the 18 hours flight to Atlanta, Georgia. You are feeling guilty.
The heart of women empowerment is actually financial literacy, which is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm very privileged to actually have had the opportunity to work on a hair care brand that's actually doing women empowerment. So It's on Us is basically saying, we want to pay for your bond or your car or your school fees. And that's why we're saying it's on us.
Because people don't research enough on the types of funding that are available out there. Lots of funding available in the corporate space too. There's also lots of funding available in commercial, which means the banks. But also, if you just research what funding is available based on your need before you go and blanket apply. Because funding is really like applying for a job. I can't go and apply for a medicine job if I've never been in that space. The same way with funding. I can't just go and apply.
Good evening, Dr. T. Thank you very much for joining.
Now more than ever, small businesses need all the help they can get, and that's where Ad Crashers comes in. Ad Crashers is a movement that brings big media and big agencies together to get small businesses in on the big ad action. And so, if you're a small South African business, we could be making ads for you for free. To apply, visit adcrashers.co.za and your brand could be on radio stations, web banners, and billboards all over town. This initiative is brought to you by the Riverbed Agency. Hashtag support small businesses. T's and C's apply.
With Raizcorp. Such opportunities don't come every day. And when we go out to search for them, we know that they can make a difference. Now, we've been on the theme of teamwork for the past 3 weeks. And last week, Dr. T introduced the topic, characteristics of a winning team. What makes this team? How do you recognize it? But most importantly, how do you fit in that team? Dr. T, tonight, I am not going to go back to our long catch-up session. You had already begun talking about characteristics of effective teams, and I want us to pick it up from there. In fact, we must start at the top with the characteristics, go through all 11 or 13 of those characteristics, and then conclude. Good evening to you, Dr. T.
Good evening, my brother Rams. How are you doing, man?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm super. I can see you're on fire, man. This is exciting.
Well, we've got a new program, Dr. T, and you and I, well, I suppose, and Freddie too, are the only common things with the new show. Everything else has changed.
No, all good.
And I'm glad, Dr. T, that we still have you. I'm so glad we still have you. You are very important to this community that we are building. We have feedback about you. People truly treasure your contribution. So when I asked you to come on Tuesdays instead of Mondays, I'm glad you could say yes to that request.
No, thank you. I look forward to many more seasons ahead.
So I promised myself, Dr. T, I am not going to waste time like I did last week, going back too far back on catching up on what we had done the previous week. You know, now all these things are recorded. People can go back to podcasts and stuff like that and catch up. So I just want us really tonight, quick to just talk about the star team model, and then go to the characteristics of the team of a winning team.
Sure. Thank you. The STAR team model suggests that effective teamwork, whether it's within the context of a workplace or anywhere, whether you are doing a team, a sporting team, whatever, effective teamwork happens when 4 elements, which are strength, teamwork, alignment, and results, are in place. See, because individuals, they flourish as they develop their strengths. And then that results in coming together and building, relationships that lead into teamwork. And then you have a team leader that aligns the team through effective communication of purpose and vision. And that is what brings about team results as everybody then puts their hand to the plow. And so it's very important that people understand that, you can't achieve greatness on your own. It's not like that guy who sings the song and says, I did it my way. No, when it comes to teams, we did it together. And we do it together.
Well, Dr. T, even when he says he did it his way, he still needed the guitarist and the pianist, and he still needed the stage manager, and he still needed the promoter and the manager and stuff like that.
That's not true. That's not true. He needed everybody else.
Exactly. So what are these characteristics of effective teams? I know we had started with them, but I'm happy to start afresh with them because I know we can finish within the allotted time. By the way, I need to say to our viewers that because of how we've done the show now, it probably is no longer a 30-minute show. I mean, we're going to do this session with Dr. T alone for 30 minutes, and we did the previous one for 15. So this show is now probably 45 minutes, and sometimes it could go to an hour, but I know it's worth it. So don't move. Dr. T, let's get ahead with the characteristics.
All right. So now I think the most important thing to realize is the fact that the concept of teamwork says that together everyone achieves more. That's the point. And so when you look at effective teams, successful teams, there are certain characteristics that you find. And it's important that we are able to mirror those in our own settings. And I'm talking even from something, a relationship, whether it's a marriage or it's a romantic relationship, it's a team, and everywhere you've got to connect with someone else other than your own in pursuit of specific objectives, it is a team. So the first characteristic is a clear unity of purpose. There is no division. In fact, the word division means division. It means having two visions in one context, and that's why when there's division, people don't see the same thing. They may be uniform, but they're not united. So it's important to understand that in an effective team, there is clear unity of purpose. We all see the same thing. We're all aiming for the same thing. And that alignment needs to be reached. That alignment needs to be fostered in the context of an effective team. That's the first one. Right. Okay. The second one says that the team comes to a point where it discusses its objectives. There is no imposition of objectives. There is a clear, explicit, and mutually agreed upon approach that everybody understands. Everyone understands what are the mechanics, what are the norms, what is expected, what are the rules. A lot of times we want to rush through the rules so that we can get into the exciting stuff. But then we find that we begin, to cross boundaries, and then all of that starts to affect the effectiveness of the team simply because we did not take time to read the fine print and to discuss the fine print and make sure that we were all on this same page. Sometimes the success of the team is dependent on the consciousness of the team about its own operations. That plays the biggest part in terms of what the team does. I don't know if I can go to the third one, Rams.
Yes, Dr. T. Let's roll them. I'll ask questions as we go along.
Okay, lovely. So thirdly, an effective characteristic is that the group has set clear, demanding performance goals for itself, and it can translate these goals into concrete milestones against which it measures itself. So the team has this larger goal. This is where we are going. That's the big goal, right? But this big goal must be broken into smaller goals so that we can celebrate the small wins. As we celebrate the small wins, we know that we are well on our way to the big goal. It's almost like, if you were to eat an elephant, it's one bite at a time, but we celebrate those small bites. A lot of teams frustrate themselves because it's always this big, bare goal that's in front there, and there are no smaller build-up goals. So successful teams are very clear on the big goal, but they use the small goals to measure their performance. It's the same thing. A big shot is only a small shot who kept on shooting. He was winning the small ones, and it led to the big ones. And again, effective teams have an atmosphere that tends to be very comfortable and relaxed. There are no obvious tensions. There are no moods in a winning team, Rams. And you find that people in a winning team, the atmosphere is one of openness. It is one of mutually working together, but it's one of understanding where, you don't have those things where they say, no, man, the air was so tense, you could slice it with a knife. No, in effective teams, the air is very accommodating and everybody feels at home.
Does it mean then that everybody gets to participate?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot of discussion in which everybody participates. There are no stupid questions in a team. Yes, if a discussion gets off track, someone brings it back into order, but the members listen to one another. Every idea is given a hearing, and the people are not afraid of being foolish by putting forth a creative thought, even if it seems extreme. Believe me, a lot of times, if teams would listen to the most quiet guy, to the guy who sometimes struggle to get words out, believe me, a lot of answers are found even in the guy who looks like they don't have it together. So effective team create an atmosphere intentionally, by the way, where everyone participates and everyone has a voice. That's very important.
I used to have a teacher who used to say, the only stupid question is the one you did not ask.
That's so true. My gosh, that's so true. That's so true. And you see, in effective teams, Rams, and building up on that, people are free in expressing their feelings as well as their ideas. The functionality of a team is as functional as its degree that its members can express themselves. That's very, very important. And we need to understand that in an effective team, disagreement is viewed as healthy. Disagreement does not imply animosity. I know that we've got leaders that the moment you disagree with them, you are branded the enemy of the state, the enemy of humankind. We've seen it in political arenas on our continent. It's very sad. If you are a dissenting voice, you are not viewed as a progressive voice, but you are viewed as a detractor. But progressive people will actually tell you that if everyone is thinking alike, then someone isn't thinking. So powerful, effective teams, they will foster and actually look for dissenting views, because that is healthy to the function of an effective team. If you don't find a dissension within yourself, you will get it from your competitors and they will not be kind about it.
But do such teams then, Dr. T, get to reach agreement? Do they get to make decisions? Because it sounds like it becomes a free-for-all. We could end up discussing forever, even when we disagree.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That could be a possibility. But you see, the powerful thing about effective teams is that decisions are made at a point where there is general agreement. So those who disagree with the general agreement of the group, they don't keep their opposition private. And that's the power of it. Because remember, if you keep your opposition private, you fall into what is called into this mob psychology, where you have bought in publicly, but you really haven't bought in. Then after the meeting, you say to people, I knew this thing wasn't going to work. Yeah, I know they said this in the meeting, but I don't think this is going to work. You see, but it's very important that effective teams, winning teams, if there is a different opinion, it is voiced, right? But there is general consensus that moves the team in a certain way. And once the team agrees in a certain direction, everyone is bound to put in their effort into it. Just like how Marines do. Once a decision is made, even if someone had a different viewpoint, they are committed to the outcome that everybody has agreed on. So you'll find that the guy who strongly had a difference of opinion is the one who is backing your opinion once the team decides on that direction. Can you imagine how much we could do if we just followed that principle of effective teamwork?
In fact, I see that principle I see it in the relay team that you spoke to us about, because the guy who gets the baton last, even if he's last in the group that he starts with, he still gives as much effort as though he's going to win this race, because he's part of a team. So he's not going to say, well, you guys were late. He's late with the team. He owns it up with everybody else, and he gives as much effort and he puts his weight into this run.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You see, every individual carries their own weight, but the weight is contextualized in the goals of the team, you know. So that is why, as you're saying, everybody puts in their 110%, whether the team is at an advantage or it's at a disadvantage. You know, I've seen it. You know, I follow a lot of these successful coaches, whether it was an Arsene Wenger or in say Alex Ferguson or it's a Jose Mourinho, and the way they talk about their players, that, you know what, we were 3-0 down, you know, and when he came on, he was a substitute, which means that, you know, nobody loves to be a substitute. Everybody wants to play the 90 minutes, you know. But when he came on as a substitute, he was ready to put himself on the line for the team. So the guy carried his weight, but applied himself, you know, as much as possible to the outcomes of the team, and that is very important, you know. So that each individual will respect the mechanics of the group, will respect the laws of the group, arrive on time, complete given tasks on time. When action is taken, clear everything. And you know, and just give yourself for the outcome of the team. You know, I've got this thing that when in a relationship, you know, one of the key things is always being the bigger person. In teamwork, you've got to be the bigger person. For example, if someone brings offense at you within the context of a team, be the bigger person. In the context of a relationship, you know, it's funny that now during this lockdown, you know, they say the divorce rates and the rates of breakups, you know, shot through the roof. Well, that happened because nobody wanted to be the bigger person. But see, when you're working within the team context, you must always be the bigger person, be the one that carries the bigger outcomes, you know, in context, and says, you know what, I can take a shot for the team, but I'm going to bring reconciliation, I'm going to bring direction. So you carry your weight, but in the context of the outcomes of the team.
Does that mean, though, Dr. T, that there is no criticism then among team members or even in a relationship?
No, actually, criticism has a constructive flavor. And I think this is where the thin line is. A lot of people bring criticism, but they bring it in a demeaning manner. And when criticism is being brought in a demeaning manner, it becomes personal. So it's no longer about the ideas that I'm making. But it's now about the fact that I think you are beneath the level of the discussion, you see. And that is where the challenge is, because now it becomes about criticizing people and not critiquing ideas. You need to be able to play the ball and not play the man. So effective teams have managed to reach that balance where even if there is criticism being brought, it's so constructive that everyone is comfortable. It does not slice the atmosphere. And I think all of us have got some work to do in this dimension, because a lot of times, especially within teams, we let emotions take the most of it, when actually, you know, the constructive flavor needs to come out in a very, very powerful way around.
Wow, I love that, Dr. T. Okay, let's go on.
All right. And so another powerful thing, by the way, about true and effective teamwork is that everybody is given an opportunity to lead. The leadership of the group shifts from time to time. You see, the issue is not about who controls, but the issue is about how do we get the job done. So there is no concept of a lifelong presidency in a team because the very context of team implies that there will be a change in leadership. And yes. I know, Ram, this is not a political show, but we've got a lot to learn in our African continent when it comes to this. A lot of people think that they are the hero, they are the savior, and they want to die holding the reins. You see, that's not teamwork. That's exactly the opposite of teamwork, And so it's not about who controls, it's about how we get the job done. The goals of the team are more important than who wears what shirt in the team and how long they wear the shirt for. I think that's very important.
Well, Dr. T, you opened the door, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I also believe, though, in terms of politics, I tend to blame the electorate. We create the big daddies in politics. We tend to think these people are born with the leadership qualities and right, that we actually feel guilty for not giving them our vote. So, I think we create these people who want to stay there forever. But let's get out of politics quickly. Let's move on to our conversation.
I like it. Maybe one day we need to discuss leadership in Africa, and really deal with a lot of these things, because then it goes from politics to organizations, but we're dealing with certain concepts of leadership. I think that would be great. Right. Yeah. Now, the team, my next point, before we start to close, is that the team is able to stay ahead of the change curve through adapting. Mm-hmm. There is no effective team, Rams, that has longevity but fails to adapt. As a proper part of its normal function, there is the functionality within the team that looks at future sustainability. And that says, what do we need to do to remain relevant? What do we need to do to be relevant in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? So part of the function of the team is to ensure that we change before the change happens. We stay ahead of what is called the change curve. A lot of times, remember there are 3 dimensions to change. You change before you have to, which is a great win. You change because you have to, which is a painful win. You change after you have to, which is a very, very big loss. Right from the business context to everything else, those 3 windows are always in play. But effective teams, they know that we've got to adapt even before that adaptation is demanded of us. Then we are always ahead of the change curve. Effective teams will always ensure their sustainability, their long-term sustainability.
Great. And the last point, Dr. T.
Right. The last point is that effective teams will go out of their way to create psychological safety. And psychological safety is built on the basis of dependability, right? Teams know how to build dependability on the basis of one another. If you look at the Marines, the US Marines, they understand that their success is dependent on the next man or the next woman. So the ascent of the team is directly proportional to the descent of each individual, so that they can count on one another. In fact, they create whenever they are doing their recruitment, they create environments where individuals fail until they learn to depend on one another. And the more they learn to depend on one another, there is now what is called psychological safety. Remember, within a team context, you can only get the extra mile where there is psychological safety, where people feel they belong, where people feel that he's got my back, I've got your back. Remember, that's always a two-way. If I know that Rams has got my back, I will go out of my way to also have Rams' back. That is why Marines, they don't leave a soldier behind. When someone is in a disadvantaged situation, they will do everything they can to go and get them. They are very mechanical in that. It's almost like feelings don't exist. Why? Because they have created such psychological safety within the context of their team that they can depend on one another no matter what. I want to say, Rams, that there's a lot we could do in teams if we don't mind who gets the glory. We are building the Talk with Rams platform. We all apply ourselves. There is one Rams, but we understand we are building this as a team. And so we have each other's back. And there's a lot that we can do for entrepreneurs in this country if we don't mind who gets the glory. I think that's a characteristic of an effective team, Rams.
I love that, Dr. T. I love that, especially when you put it in the context of what we're doing here on Talk with Rams. Ultimately, it could be called Talk with Rams, but, without you, it doesn't exist. Without Freddie putting this thing together and making sure that we appear on screen as good as we can appear, and we're heard by everyone, without Nontobeko chasing everyone and making sure that she gets the details about them, it doesn't happen. There's no team. There's no show. I agree with you 100%. It's teamwork. We are focused on the outcomes for the team, and we give ourselves for the team, and we win great things for the team. It's winning is the eventual outworking of a team that works coherently and that works in unison in pursuit of its goals. Okay, let's conclude then, Dr. T.
All right. I want to conclude, Rams, by saying that effective teams must build what is called synergy. Synergy is 1 + 1 is greater than 2. 1 + 1 is greater than 2. And you understand that a team has synergy when it always finds new ways of working. How do we become effective? How do we get around things? When team members initiate change, we are winning. When actually change comes from the team members themselves, you don't have to wait for a leader or for the situation to demand change. When the team sets fresh challenges, guys, we've done this, we've achieved, how about we set new challenges for ourselves? When team members spread good practice, good governance, good practice, good communications, when you see those things now becoming apparent without being stressed, then you know that we have a winning team. When team members coach and support each other, and even start to do so with other teams, I'm a part of a number of teams, and you find people going out of their way to help others where they know they will get nothing out of helping the other person. Then we've got a team, because we know we all are working for the same outcomes. And when teams take the lead in more often in more than their area of expertise, when people are now saying, yes, I'm good at this, but I can also help you there, I can do this. And also when connections are made across the team, more widely even across the organizations, where it's not just this business unit on its own, or it's not just the Mabote clan or just the Sibanda clan or the Mavitsela clan, but we're now able to work right across our own individual identities. That we are going places and we are bringing value to the work that we are doing. If we did this in our relationships in homes, in our relationships with our kids, in our relationships at work, and in terms of the outcomes of our own businesses, man, we can be an amazing, team Talk with Rams, Team South Africa, Team Africa, and Team Global. We will be an effective team, Rams.
Wow. Guys, you thought this man was good on a Monday. I think he's special on a Tuesday. He's even more smoking on a Tuesday. Dr. T, wow, I love this. I love this. In fact, again, you keep on giving context to a lot of things. I mean, I said to the guys, they must join us. We're going to build teams together. We're going to form this WhatsApp team and talk together and stuff like that. And this is the kind of stuff that I want us to do together. As you say, we have to build a great team, for South Africa, for Africa, for the world. And one day we'll be the greatest entrepreneurs, all of us in our different spheres, but having built it in a team context. So I hope you guys do join us in this thing, because it's a long journey, but if you stay outside, you will lose out on this conversation. Dr. Thando Sibanda, always wonderful having you here. Thank you very much for tonight.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure. I am very excited about what lies ahead. Thank you.
Great stuff, Dr. T. We shall see you next Tuesday. And you folks, we shall see you next Monday. Please write to us, admin@talkwithrams.com. Send us all your details. We are forming a family beyond what happens on air. We stay together, we work together, we grow as a team, and we're going to bring you more opportunities, and it's going to cost you nothing but your time and data, but you are going to walk out the winner. So if you don't join in, you lose out. Freddie, I'm sorry I'm not going to see you until Monday, my brother. But at some point you're going to have to survive without me. So from me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.